Data specific to your department is stored in tables found under the Tables Admin tab. This portion of our tour will be a quick overview of these tables. We will look at the ranks, shifts, and members tables for the maintenance of members for your department. We'll also look at the item type and item class for the creation of inventory items, issue and disposal codes for the purpose of issuing and disposing of inventory items, and lastly, adding vendors for use with purchase orders. The first table to look at is for adding ranks for your department. This is the ranks table and shows a listing of the ranks we are currently using in our department. To add a new rank, click on the Add button. An entry screen will appear and we could add our new rank. We will add the rank of officer and save our new record. It now appears on our table, so we can move over to the shifts table and add a new shift. The shift screen functions the same as the rank screen. The table shows all of the current shifts or departments. To add a new shift or department, use the Add button once again to bring up the entry screen. We'll add a new department called Serious Crimes, using a bit of an abbreviation. Save this new record and notice that it has been added to the table. We can now go over to the members table and add a new officer. This is the members table where we maintain the members' records. We can add and edit officer records in this screen. We will add a new officer for our department. Start by using the Add button to bring up the entry screen. We can now fill in our information starting with our new officer's badge number. Next, we fill in the rank from the drop-down list. We'll pick the rank of officer. Now we can fill in the first and last name. Finally, fill in a shift from the shift drop-down list. Save the new member record and notice that it's been added to our table. The next thing we're going to look at is the item types and item classes for the creation of new inventory items. This is the item type screen. A full discussion of creating inventory records is covered in the portion of our Quartermaster tour entitled Defining Your Inventory. A quick look at this screen and it is evident that we have a table of records called Item Type, and new records are added in the same fashion as when we dealt with ranks, shifts, and members records. We won't demonstrate that again, but we will move on to the Item Class screen. The item class screen also functions the same as in previous screens. The item class records are added in the same way, and it is the second of the two components that make up a master inventory record. That will be covered in more detail later on in our tour. We will, however, have a brief look at issue codes and disposal codes. The issue code screen has the same standard table for storing issue codes, and new records are added in the same standard way. An issue code is a code used to define a transaction when issuing inventory items to members. This topic is covered in more detail in the portion of our tour called Adding, Issuing, and Disposing. We'll now have a look at the disposal codes. Of course, disposal codes are like issue codes, but they are used to define a transaction when disposing of inventory items from members. The last thing to look at in this portion of our tour is the vendor screen. Here is our vendors screen. Quartermaster has a purchase order system for ordering inventory items from vendors. This is a screen where vendors can be added and maintained. We'll cover this in more detail in the purchase order portion of our tour. This is the end of our tour of the Adding Support data dealing with the tables administration screens. So we'll head back to the Quartermaster main menu.